some exciting scenes from today's episode of Liberty's Kids.
The French still fear a war with Great Britain, and without France as an ally, the light on our success will dim even more.
The rebels are deserting General Washington's army like rats from a sinking ship.
Why should France risk war with Britain to help a struggling band of rebels?
We need proof from General Washington that he can defeat the British.
She's all ready to print.
Good. I'll be seeing you.
Hold your horses there, Henri.
But there's a ball tonight at Mayor Powell's mansion.
Funny, I don't recall you receiving an invitation.
Why let a little thing like that stop me?
Good evening, one and all.
How's Sarah?
On her way to visit Abigail Adams in the bustling city of Boston.
Lucky girl. I wish I had a family I could visit.
Sorry, we're closed for business.
But I need to place an advertisement.
Oh, no. I spent 3 hours setting that type. I would not change it for General Washington himself.
As a matter of fact, I've been sent here by General Washington. Here's the advertisement he gave me.
Captain Alexander Hamilton of the New York Company of Artillery, by applying to the printer of this paper, may hear something to his advantage.
24 words. That will be £1 sterling, payable in advance.
What my junior apprentice means to say is that we'd be honored to run this at no charge to the General.
Thank you. I'm very much obliged.
Our pleasure.
Now this sounds like a mystery.
Henri, we'll have to reset the type for the entire page.
But what about the ball and all those beautiful ladies?
They'll just have to dance without you.
Welcome to Paris, Dr. Franklin.
Silas Dean, my old friend, good to see you again. How goes your mission to win support from France?
Not well, Ben, not well at all.
What's all that about? Some sort of celebration?
Take a look out your window. Ben Franklin's the most famous man in Europe.
Well, I'll be.
It is so good to be back in Boston to visit Mrs. Adams, but the city does seem so very changed.
Sarah! It's so good to see you again.
Is something the matter?
The smallpox has returned to Boston. I wanted to write you to tell you not to come, but there was no way to reach you in time.
How are you and the children?
All fine for now. But perhaps you should return to Philadelphia.
I wouldn't think of it. Pox or no pox, I wish to stay with you.
It's easy, really. You bow and take the lady's hand like this. Then you twirl her and... Excusez-moi.
I'd like to speak to the proprietor of this newspaper.
Then you'll have to go to Paris, France.
This advertisement. What does it mean that I may hear something to my advantage?
You're Captain Alexander Hamilton.
That's right.
That advertisement was placed by General Washington himself. Well, not personally by him, but on his behalf.
The Continental Army's encamped in Morristown. That's where the general is.
Then that's where I'll have to go.
Would you like some company? I've been meaning to find out how the Continental Army's holding up for the winter. That is, if a gentleman such as you doesn't mind riding with someone like me.
It would be a pleasure. I'm staying at the inn at the far end of the street. We'll leave first thing tomorrow.
This is going to be a great story. I've got to get ready.
Now, about those dance steps. Wouldn't you like to impress the ladies?
The only thing being impressed around here is some wood. In your arms for the stove.
Now, where were we, Silas?
You were about to tell me whether you have any good news from America.
Sadly, I do not.
Ben, I've worked tirelessly to convince the French government that ours is a cause worth helping. But it's been months since I've heard from Congress. And all this time, Lord Stormont, the British ambassador, fills the court at Versailles with rumors that our rebellion will soon be crushed.
We must keep our faith in General Washington.
There's something else you need to know. I've secured 4 large ships loaded with arms and uniforms for our troops. But now, Comte de Vergennes, France's foreign minister, has issued an order to prevent them from sailing. What are we to do?
Excuse me, I didn't mean to intrude.
Edward Bancroft. We last saw each other in England, as I recall.
I took your advice, Ben, and hired Edward as my personal secretary. He's the only man in Paris I trust.
I wish I had better tidings, Doctor. But King Louis refuses to grant you an audience.
Little strokes fell to great oaks. I shall take the strategy of attacking these problems one at a time.
What do you intend to do first?
Finish my bath and enjoy a hot meal. After that, I'll meet Comte de Vergennes. That will buy us some time.
Such a meeting might be very difficult to arrange.
Not for the most popular man in Europe.
Who's that you're holding, John Quincy?
General Washington.
These are my children, and I'll do anything to help them.
Mrs. Adams, you'd be making a terrible mistake.
I'll be back in a moment, children.
I would not be doing my duty as a doctor if I did not warn you against the dangers of inoculation against smallpox.
But how could inoculation be worse than the disease itself?
It is a new idea, barely understood and quite risky. Those who favor it say that it will give you a milder form of the pox and prevent the most deadly type of infection. But I have seen the inoculation itself cause great illness, even death. First, you and your children must ingest mercury, a poison to your system. You must fast and purge for days. Then, when you are weak and your blood is thin, you must brave the infection itself. It's simply too dangerous.
But Mr. Adams underwent the inoculation and survived. He told me the smallpox is 10 times more dangerous than the British.
All the more reason to avoid the chance of having your children contracted through inoculation.
Mrs. Adams, let me go first. I know I'm not a member of your family, but perhaps the children will draw strength from my example.
With good weather, we should reach Morristown by the end of the week.
And then I will have to face General Washington and explain how my artillery company has been reduced to a mere handful of tired, hungry, sick men.
It's a good thing General Washington seems to favor true gentlemen like you. What's so funny?
I'm no aristocrat, nor ever was. I was born in Nevis in the Caribbean Sea. My father abandoned us, and my mother died penniless before I was 13.
I lost my own parents as well. If it weren't for Ben Franklin's help, well, I don't know where I'd be.
Mighty oaks from tiny acorns grow, eh, James? I sensed a kinship between us from the very start. We will enjoy this ride, we gentlemen of low birth.
General Howe has assured me personally that the rebellion will be over by spring. The rebels are deserting General Washington's army like, forgive the expression, rats from a sinking ship. I even have it on good authority that this Benjamin Franklin fellow fled the colonies in such haste because he was caught stealing from the American treasury.
Merci beaucoup, Lord Stormont. You may be assured I will convey this news to His Royal Highness King Louis.
On behalf of the British Crown, I would be most...
Good evening.
I don't believe it. Sacre bleu.
Bonsoir. Bonsoir. Côte de Virgin, Ben Franklin at your service.
Dr. Franklin, what a surprise. Welcome to Versailles.
A man of my years is happy to be welcomed anywhere.
Permit me to introduce Lord Stormont. He was just telling us that you left America under rather hurried circumstances.
It was merely a rumor.
Though I am but a humble man, I